Thank you for attending this evening. According to the IPCC report released last year, we had 12 years to reduce carbon emissions to net zero in order to avoid the more catastrophic effects of climate change. We now have only 11. This will require cooperation across the world. It will require individual action, national action and international action. And it will require local government action as well. We are responsible for Ashford's contribution to this action, no more than that, but certainly no less. If we do nothing, we condemn future generations to catastrophic effects of climate change. We condemn them to heat waves, floods, droughts, food scarcity, lack of medication, things that the global south are experiencing today. Actually, today they've been going through this. So what we need to do is reduce our carbon emissions to zero, while at the same time preparing Ashford to deal with the effects of climate change that cannot be avoided. Because climate change is not something that is going to happen, it's something that is happening now and has been happening for decades. And while it's been happening, we've been ignoring it. Ashford prides itself on being a leader. We are the best in the region for recycling, we are a boom town, we are constantly redeveloping and enhancing our town, most of it, and our residents' lives. Individual actions are essential, they are the foundation of the future we must build, but it's now time for our leaders to lead on climate change. Bolder actions must be taken. 100% recycling rates will not stop the planet getting hotter. We can use all the refillable water bottles we want, that won't stop the deadly diesel fumes spewing from our buses. We can ban all the plastic bags ever produced, but this won't stop the crops failing or the floods that drown villages such as Wright in the winter. We won't stop wars while we're investing people's money in arms manufacturers. We won't stop climate change while we're investing people's money in fossil fuels. We must invest in renewable energies, community energy, food forests, electric vehicles and infrastructure. We must support our local economy, our local food producers. We cannot rely on food from the US or third world countries. These people will need that food when their crops fail, and the transport of that food causes the same emissions that we are trying to reduce. We cannot rely on French electricity or Russian gas or oil from the Middle East. We must produce our own energy. When we become truly sustainable, then we can help others. The current climate crisis threatens everything this council has achieved. Now is the time to be the leader in facing this crisis, protecting our legacy and building a town for the 22nd century. That is why Councillor Wright and myself fought so hard to get into this chamber. We hope we have brought with us the tools, policies and the philosophy needed to steer Ashford towards a cleaner, greener, prosperous future, where Ashford can take its place on the world stage as a leader that averted apocalypse and built a sustainable and fairer world society in its place. This is not about party politics, this is not about ego or vanity projects. The science says this is happening, the science tells us what needs to happen, the science has set the date. And if the science is wrong, then it is only wrong in that it is worse, it is happening faster, and we need to do more. I propose that Ashford declares a climate emergency and immediately takes action to avert this crisis and move towards a brighter future. Is what I was going to say, but we were gazumped last week when Councillor Clarkson announced in Cabinet that our top priority in our next 5-year plan would be to reduce carbon emissions to zero by 2030, by 80% by 2025. The motion calls for a report from the Mayor in 6 months' time, and 6 months after that we will be launching the new 5-year plan, with which I believe this motion is entirely compatible. So I would like to thank the leader for doing this, but would like to push ahead with this motion. Let's set this in stone, etch this moment into history. Let's shout it from the rooftops and formally declare that we acknowledge there is a climate emergency and we are going to do something about it. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Have the motion seconded?
Oh, sorry.
I second. Thank you, Councillor Wright.
Madam Mayor, Councillor, ladies and gentlemen, I am delighted to second this motion. I have, in fact, although I'm a bit nervous about speaking here, I'm not unaccustomed to public speaking, and I've seconded and proposed and voted for and against lots of motions in the course of my life that have never got anywhere. And I too believe in action, not words. But this one I am delighted to second because I know we are knocking at an open door. I was surprised and delighted after barely 2 months on this council to find that the leader and the cabinet have brought down their target for Ashford becoming carbon neutral from 2050 to 2040 to 2030 with 80% by 2025. So I'm absolutely delighted that this is part of, this is de facto part of our strategic policy. But I believe that this motion will kind of de jure underline this policy and underpin everything that Ashford is doing in the next 5 years. We mustn't underestimate the enormous effort that is going to be needed. We've already started on the road, and we've got the example of other councils such as Stroud, Oxford, Bristol, Aberdeen ahead of us, and there will be plenty of support for these policies. But it's going to take a huge investment in the skills that are needed. It will reap huge benefits, but they will in a more sustainable society, a more sustainable Ashford. But there needs to be a huge upfront investment. And most of all, we need to bring the people with us. The people need the leadership of the local authorities. But without all the people of Ashford supporting these policies, probably everybody will need to make some individual sacrifices before we get there, and they need to know about this. We need to inform them and communicate the urgency of the climate emergency. We must take the people with us and involve everyone if we're going to succeed. So it should be a top priority, going down to all the councils, the parish councils, community forums, everybody. We have to make all the people understand how urgent this is. And the best thing of all about seconding this motion is that I know that we're knocking on an open door and everyone will support us. It is something that transcends politics. We all need to work together for a sustainable, clean, healthy future for ourselves, our children, our grandchildren, and our planet. So I know we can count on the support of everyone here. I have a vision of Ashford as a vibrant community, as we've been saying, linked by fast, frequent electric buses without spewing out all the diesel that currently happens, with local workspaces so we don't need to have so much commuting, and small work units for bike repair and appliance repair. So we're no longer a throwaway society, and we're no longer a fast fashion society. We could have workshops for repairing clothes and instead of the fast fashion that's throwing them away. And everybody needs to be involved in this. Most of all, I welcome what the leader has said tonight. I'm very glad that he believes in action, not talk, and that this is not a party political, this above all things really, is not a party political issue, and everybody has to be involved. So I'm very pleased to second this motion.
Thank you, Councillor Wright.